Hello and thanks for tuning into the show that goes around the continent to bring you stories near and far. I'm Joke Rogers at Channels Television here in Lagos, and I'm joined by Vincent McCory from the Voice of America in Washington, D.C.
Well, thanks. I'm Vincent McCory at the Voice of America. Happy to be with you again for the edition of Africa 54. Let's start off with the latest from Nigeria. Joke Rogers in Lagos brings you that story.
The governor of Adamawa State, Amadu Fintiri, has reiterated his administration's commitment to transform the health sector through impactful projects that will bring relief and succor to the people. The governor made the disclosure while commissioning a modern cottage hospital in Demsa local government area of the state. Demsa local government area of Adamawa State has been without a medical facility to cater to the needs of the people since its creation. But that's history now, with the commissioning of a brand new cottage hospital in the headquarters of the local government. In his opening remarks, the Commissioner for Health, Felix Tangwami, describes the project as a great relief to the community, while the member representing Demsa in the State House of Assembly applauds the establishment of the hospital.
Facilities we are about to commission is fully equipped, staff have been posted, and everything that is needed to make the community benefit are in position. Your Excellency, on behalf of all health workers in Adamawa State, we want to sincerely thank you for making giant strides in the health sector.
Governor Fintiri reiterates his administration's efforts to deliver quality healthcare to the people of the state.
Our efforts have been comprehensive, touching every facet of healthcare landscape, from infrastructure development to capacity building, from service delivery to disease control. Several primary healthcare centers have been refurbished, equipped with staff quarters, VIP latrines, boreholes, and standard fences, enhancing both access and quality of care.
He then proceeds to commission the 60-bed facility and takes a guided tour.
To the glory of God and to the benefit of humanity. Thank you.
Patients can also access the accident and emergency via the exit route. We have a fully functional modern monitor, oxygen cylinders. This is a suction machine, automated hematology analyzers.
Earlier, Governor Fintiri, assisted by His Royal Majesty Hamabata, commissioned a 4.8-kilometer road in Demsa. These activities are part of events lined up to celebrate 5 years of his administration as he continues in his drive to provide dividends of democracy to the people of the state. The state government has also put in place a healthcare insurance scheme, and joining us to discuss the advantages of this scheme is a general medicine practitioner, Dr. Kazeem Ako. Thank you so much for joining us on the program today.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us more about, these things that the state governments are doing, especially the healthcare insurance scheme that the Adamawa state government has put in place for the people, in addition to the, establishment and commissioning of some other health projects for people in the rural areas. What should go into its implementation?
Yes, so when you talk about like NHIS implementing health schemes in local government areas, it serves to meet mostly the grassroots in bringing healthcare services to them in terms of primary healthcare, maternal and child healthcare. And doing this will bring basic healthcare facilities to the grassroots scheme where normally they may not have access to it. So that's one of the main benefits of having things like this in rural areas. Most times you get to see healthcare services in urban areas and also in high-end facilities where the costs will be very high. But this level most times is brought to barely. You may not have to even pay for anything, maybe just registration and getting data of the members. to access care.
Right. And what kind of support should the government expect from the private healthcare providers?
For private, the main just thing would be when there's a specialty or referral services for expert care. In most of those centers, they may not have amenities or even the expertise, and you find it in private hospitals. So the local governments and the government in general, they will need the partnership of private healthcare sector in accepting referrals from their centers to them in cases of complications for deliveries, surgeries, and all that. So where we would like participation for private facilities would be, agreeing to, good tariffs in order to accept and care for these are members that are sent from local government areas.
Right. And, in all things, we take a look at the public sector, we take a look at the private sector. Even as the government, hopes to partner to get some of these services across to the people, some of those services you've just explained. How do you think they will work well together, knowing that even hospitals in the private sector will want as many patients for itself as possible as well?
Well, that's where insurance comes in. Insurance deals more with numbers. So the more you have people that access care, the more, you'll be able to leverage on whatever costs that have been accrued per head. So for private centers, if you can come to an agreement that, okay, you'll have number of members allocated to a particular facility, then I feel with whatever is sent to them in terms of capitation or fee for service, or mainly capitation, they will be able to, make some adjustments to be able to meet up with attending to these members. So
how many facilities do you think the government should put in place to ensure that everybody has access to these facilities as easy as possible?
I believe more of these courses are needed, but the basic thing would be in rehabilitating and improving existing primary health care centers. That's like, the foremost thing, because most of those people that are used to all these the health centers around them, those are the ones that are easily accessible. Saying you want to dedicate millions of naira into building new cottages like the one being done now will take a lot of time. So in getting approvals, things ready for that, it's best you improve on existing primary health centers. Because we have primary health centers all over the locations. You just to make improvements and get good and stable healthcare personnel that can man them.
What should be the long-term vision of an insurance scheme, for states, for it to really work for the people long term?
Well, a long-term vision would be a point whereby each local government will be able to carry out basic emergency surgeries, emergency cases, and have the basic facilities that they need, and which is doable. It is doable. It's just the will of the government to be able to, put in more effort in getting the right manpower and getting the basic facilities that are needed in all those centers, and enable them to be able to carry out basic operations, tests, and different things that they need to do, to carry out things and those before they can now say they want to do referrals. But that would be like the first baseline, having each primary health center or cottages, hospitals like the ones built to be able to meet immediate health needs of people in the vicinity.
General medicine practitioner Dr. Kazeem Akao, thank you for your time today on the program.
Thank you for having me.
We want to know what you think about Africa 54 and the stories we cover. Join the conversation on Facebook. The address is Africa 54, and check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com. After the break, Zimbabwe begins the process of abolishing the death penalty to conform with international standards. Welcome back to Africa 54. I'm Vincent Makori in Washington. Zimbabwe's parliament is conducting nationwide consultations after the cabinet in February agreed to abolish the death penalty to conform with international standards. Columbus Mavunga has the story from a public hearing in Bindura, Zimbabwe.
Bindura, Zimbabwe, a crime-riddled mining town about 100 kilometers from the capital Harare and the site of a recent public hearing on the death penalty. Zimbabwe's parliament hopes citizens will support the bill abolishing the death penalty for crimes such as aggravated murder and treason. Energy Mutodi heads the parliament's Justice Committee, which is leading the hearings.
The people have spoken. They are coming up with different views. Some are for the idea that the death penalty must be removed. Some are saying it must remain in the ocean as a deterrent might.
Those against the death penalty, like Tinei Mashone, say the punishment is too harsh and archaic.
The Constitution, Amendment number 20 of 2013.
If you look at our Constitution, it protects women from the death sentence. But we are pushing for equality. That is the basis of constitutionalism and democracy. So there is a bias there. So I am in support of the new bill. It should pass so that we can correct people. We cannot solve violence with violence.
Amnesty International says it hopes Zimbabweans support the proposed law to end the death sentence.
Once it's done, it's done. And if someone is wrongly accused, then we cannot then take that life back. Two, we are saying this law is something that is a colonial relic that came with the white colonialists, and they were using the death penalty to oppress the black majority. So we are saying, why are we still inheriting something that was being used against us as the black majority?
Some participants at the hearing said they are seeing people who killed their relatives walking scot-free. Some Zimbabweans called for imposing the death sentence on rapists and those who commit violent crimes like robbery.
I disagree, because some are pardoned after serving 5 years and released. Right now, I see the person who killed my brother walking freely. What should I do? If there is no hangman, you can hire me.
The last execution in Zimbabwe took place in 2005, and death penalty opponent President Emmerson Mnangagwa last month commuted the death row sentences for some prisoners to that of life imprisonment. Columbus Mavunga, VOA News, Bindura, Zimbabwe.
Nigeria's Vice President Kashim Shettima has called for a global partnership to tackle the problem of internal displacement. He made the call during the launch of a state action plans on durable solution to internal displacement to be implemented in 4 northern states. Our State House correspondent, Empress Simon, reports.
Finding solutions to internal displacement in Nigeria is what this meeting is about. Reports by the International Organization for Migration indicates that over 2.8 million people are internally displaced in Borno, Adamawa, Yobe and Benue states in northern Nigeria.
It's a timely call to live to
Vice President Kashim Shettima calls for a collaborative cross-border approach to tackling the challenge of internal displacement as he reaffirms the commitment of President Bola Tinubu's administration to the welfare of the citizens.
His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has set in place proactive measures to forestall both man-made and natural disasters that could further complicate or stretch the displacement map we inherited. From the terrains of terrorism being neutralized in the northeast to the bandits retreating in the northwest, we remain vigilant to ensure the safety of every citizen in every part of this country.
The state governors are pleased with the intervention by the federal government, pledging their commitment to the action plans.
We are confident that this additional support will go much further to help the people affected by the insurgency to pick up the pieces of their lives and help build a successful, prosperous, and inclusive future for Borno where no one is left behind.
We are concerned about reconnecting the displaced persons with their economic lifestyles that they had seemingly lost as a result of the conflict.
The United Nations Assistant Secretary General and Special Advisor on Durable Solutions and the British High Commissioner to Nigeria commend the efforts of the current administration. Highlight of the meeting is the unveiling of the state action plans expected to prevent new displacement crises from emerging and ensure that those facing displacement receive effective protection and assistance. From the Presidential Villa, Emperor Simon, Channels Television News.
The South African government is hoping to strengthen protections for whistleblowers who report on corruption in business and government. Proponents say it's not only about making whistleblowers feel comfortable coming forward, but also about protecting them from retaliation. VOA's Isan Hafiji reports.
Martha Ngoi was the legal executive at the state-owned Passenger Rail Agency of South Africa when she came forward with proof of unlawful government contracts worth millions. In response, she says, she was fired by her employer in 2021 and has been involved in a lengthy and costly legal battle to get her job back.
You know, psychologically as well, it's taken a huge toll, psychologically, not only on me, on my daughter as well, and the family as well. But I've been fortunate because I've had a support structure.
As Ngoi continues her legal fight, she participates in the Whistleblower House, a civil society organization that supports and advises people who reveal corruption in South Africa. For others in South Africa, the whistleblowing led to tragedy. Government employee Babita Deokaran was a witness in a fraud investigation into improper COVID-era medical supply contracts. She was shot to death in 2021 after her role in the inquiry became known.
In the weeks before she was killed, she had stumbled across anomalous payment patterns and had reported them to her superiors. She'd wanted an urgent investigation and a stop to the payments. And even just days before she was killed, she sent a message to her boss saying, these guys might be onto us if we stop their money and our lives might be in danger. And that message turned out to be fairly prescient because she was killed within less than a week.
Cynthia Stumple exposed corruption in South Africa's state-owned airlines. She now works at Whistleblower House.
My own view is that whistleblowers are truly important in fighting corruption because they are the ones who highlight and expose and speak out about either fraud happening in their workplace, corruption, and so they are that first point of call.
The South African government is reviewing its current whistleblower laws as part of a national anti-corruption strategy.
Penalize those that are retaliating against whistleblowers. And the second thing that would be crucial would be to create a stronger relationship between the state and civil society, and an independent state institution could provide the resolution there.
Ngoi is all for whistleblower law reform. She says right now, they're not getting the support and protection they desperately need.
At the end of the day, it is important for whistleblowers to speak truth to power. If we really do want change in this country and we want to leave some kind of a legacy and future for our kids, people have got to speak out.
The government proposals include granting whistleblowers government protection and imposing criminal charges on organizations that ignore whistleblowers' information. Ihsan Hafiji, VOA News, Johannesburg, South Africa.
In a significant move to enhance international trade and economic cooperation, a high-level delegation from Nigeria and Benin Republic have held talks on improving the free flow of trade and commerce between the two nations. The delegation met with their Beninois counterparts to discuss ways to strengthen trade between the two countries.
This meeting is taking place at the Segbana border post in Benin Republic, which is the border between Nigeria and the Republic of Benin. The Nigerian delegation is received by government officials from both countries. Thereafter, the officials went into the meeting, which held behind closed doors. We later learned during the press briefing that the meeting is at the instance of the President of Nigeria and that of Benin Republic, who ordered the officials to strengthen social and economic relationships.
Border between Nigeria and the Republic of Benin in Segbana is open. Trade is to commence. On the Nigerian part, this is part of the ongoing implementation of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's Renewed Hope agenda.
This is a start of new relation on how we can make sure that we resume the work of our joint committees to make sure that when there is any type of issue between our population, our two countries, we have platform to discuss and to fix them very effectively.
On his part, the Controller General of the Nigeria Customs Service, Bashir Adewale Adeniyi, says the meeting sought to advance regional integration between the two countries.
The chart, which has already been created for us by Their Excellencies Presidents Talon and Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to ensure closer working relations and economic relations between Nigeria and Benin.
Meanwhile, Governor Nasir Idris of Kebbi State commends the president for resuscitating the free flow of trade between the two countries. This meeting, which is attended by high government delegations from both countries, is expected to significantly boost international trade between Nigeria and Benin Republic and create new opportunities for businesses and economic growth in the region.
Well, in Africa, about 15% of the population faces disability challenges despite advancements in technology. Limited infrastructure and high costs of assistive tech create barriers to digital access, leading to exclusion. A conference in Nairobi aims to help change that. Mohammed Yusuf reports.
Edwin Omulama is one of millions of people living with disabilities in Africa. He's here today to learn how technology can assist him in moving without the aid of someone or his walking stick. A device attached to his feet can prevent collisions, safeguarding him from injuries.
Many people are able to know us from the use of the walking stick, but with the cameras, people will not understand us, and they will think that we are normal and will be operating as normal people. And I believe it will help us to be more independent when it comes to walking, identifying of objects.
At the Inclusive Africa Conference, at least 20 innovators displayed technologies designed to improve the independence of persons with disabilities. According to the United Nations, more than 80 million people in Africa are disabled. By 2050, 3.5 billion worldwide will need assistive technology. The devices displayed here are designed to address disabilities, from aiding communication for people with verbal and vision impairments to facilitating easier movement. Faustina Urasa from Tanzania says being assisted into a vehicle can be very upsetting.
There are times when someone touches you in a way that makes you uncomfortable. But with this mode of transport, it helps preserve our dignity. I'm relieved that I won't have to be carried and touched anymore. Now I can enter the vehicle with respect and sit comfortably. It brings me immense joy.
Access to assistive technology is poor in Africa and is blamed on poverty, the environment, lack of knowledge, and lack of support services and service providers.
We also want to unlock the Africa AT ecosystem and assist African countries and innovators in developing policies and funding structures that can help innovation thrive in Africa. We also want to empower youth with disabilities with the right information, tools, and opportunities to become digital accessibility champions across the continent.
As the conference ends, those living with disabilities and their advocates hope their voices will be heard and be supported by getting tools to better their lives. Mohammed Yusuf, VOA News, Nairobi.
Well, that's our show for today. You can find all the continent's top news and world news online at voaafrica.com. Check it out. I'm Vincent McCory in Washington. Channels Television has our last word.
We look forward to bringing you another show next week. To remember that channelstv.com is your source for news and other programming. I'm Joke Rogers. Thanks for watching and goodbye.